The rising of the sun, a new dawn beckons, giving everyone hope for a better tomorrow. One Money Remit brings convenience to your doorstep, connecting the hustlers, providers, long-distance carriers, and loved ones from one part of the city to the most remote parts across Zimbabwe, connecting people and bridging the divide through technology. We are committed to delivering innovative mobile solutions, enabling you to send and collect US dollars anywhere and making sure life goes on through one secure connection, keeping smiles alive and making a difference no matter where you are. With One Money, it's one time.
Thank you very much for joining us on ZTN News Blitz. Let's take a quick look at our top stories. Omicron variant fueling COVID-19 surge in Zimbabwe. Will give you the insights. Bank client confidentiality enabling financial crimes. Sex for grades scandal at Morocco University. And in sport, Yada Harare City match postponed. And now for the news in greater detail. Zimbabwe has recorded the highest number of new COVID-19 cases so far, with health experts attributing the surge to the highly transmissible Omicron variant. As of the 7th of December 2021, the country recorded 4,031 new cases, and active cases are currently standing at 11,908, and the national recovery rate is 89%. But what is fueling this sharp increase in cases? World Health Organization country representative Dr. Alex Gasasira says the newly identified Omicron variant is highly transmissible and could be fueling the spread of the virus.
We recently confirmed the presence of a new variant that is believed to be much more transmissible than the variants that were circulating before. But we also know that what will prevent transmission from escalating, the actions that we need to take are still the same, irrespective of what variant is in circulation. So our message would be that all of us should continue to implement the preventive measures that we know so well. Meanwhile, the authorities, the health teams are doing investigations to find out what additional information we could learn from the ongoing increase in new cases.
Health expert Professor Solwa Yongwenya blames complacency.
So that we are seeing here a characteristic of this new Omicron variant. The old Delta variant had almost died down, and we're recording 0 cases and nothing of note. But now, these past 2 weeks, we've seen this new sweeping wave of infection with massive increases in the number of infections. And then there's also increasing numbers of hospitalization and severe disease and deaths. We are already starting to record them if you look at the official figures released last night. So this is mainly the drivers are this huge gross complacency in the population, that they are no longer following laid down regulations set down by the government and the WHO. So once we have this gross human complacency and human-to-human contact, it's lighting a fire. That's why we are seeing these massive increases in the figures.
In the same light, the government of Zimbabwe says it will be adopting additional measures to encourage people to get vaccinated. Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services Minister Monica Mchangwa says there will be vaccination sites at the main intra and intercity bus termini, adding that government will introduce mandatory vaccination for boarding public transport.
And then accordingly, Cabinet adopt the following additional measures. 1. Government will be establishing vaccination sites at the main intra and intercity bus termini, and this is to ensure that those not vaccinated but wish to do so can have their doses administered before they board the public transport. 2, please note that there will be a time when people will not be allowed to board public transport without a valid vaccination card.
The Passenger Association of Zimbabwe says this could affect the public transport sector as commuters may shy away from using Zupco buses, opting for illegal pirate taxis instead. PAZ acting spokesperson Andrew Shibanda speaks to ZTN News.
The proposed mandate by government to bar unvaccinated people from boarding Zupco buses is a good way to go, but however, this also is a slap on the face to both the passengers and the company, as the commuting public would resort to pirate vehicles, popularly known as mshika-shika. The government should look at the pros and cons of this mandate. The implementation will be difficult since there is lack of human resources capitalization. Also, passengers are going to find it difficult to carry the cards all the time, and also passengers are going to be delayed in the process, as this will take a longer time to look at every card before the passengers board the bus.
Still with the pandemic, the Judicial Service Commission of Zimbabwe has announced that the temporary closure of its head office in Harare and a number of courthouses on the 8th and the 9th of December 2021. This comes after some COVID-19 cases were confirmed at their premises. Matters set down for Wednesday, 8th December are automatically rolled over to Friday, the 10th of December, while those set down for Thursday, the 9th of December, are rolled over to the 13th of December, that is on Monday. Judicial Service Commission of Zimbabwe, Head of Corporate Services, Koni Makoni Trodlana, speaks.
The Judicial Service Commission head office and some magistrates' courts have been temporarily shut down to pave way for fumigation after some COVID-19 cases were confirmed. Some of the magistrates' courts that have been temporarily closed include Harare Civil and Criminal, Rotten Row Court, Tredgold Court in Bulawayo, Gweru Criminal, Gwanda Civil and Criminal Courts, Plumtree, Mutawa, Shurugwi, Chitungwiza, Goromonzi, Norton, Rusape, Chegutu, Inyati, Kadoma, Mbari, and Motari Civil and Criminal Courts. The temporary closure will be today, Wednesday, the 8th of December, and Thursday, the 9th of December.
Child education advocates have expressed concern that governments in Southern Africa are not funding early childhood development education adequately. This comes as the latest information has indicated that 40% of ECD-age children in Zimbabwe are not attending school. The Education Management Information Systems report revealed that some children find it hard to walk long distances to get to the nearest school, and as such, they would rather stay at home. The Zimbabwe Network of Early Childhood Development Actors say the government should make more efforts to ensure all children receive ECD education.
And this is why we are coming in to say governments should rally together and have a policy framework at SADC level, which unfortunately is not there. And it's not even spoken to in the education and training protocol. And we are saying to governments, can you put this on the agenda for your Council of Ministers and heads of governments at SADC level, so that this is well prioritized and be funded well in terms of finances, in terms of teachers, and in terms of leadership within the ministries.
Zimbabwe's Primary and Secondary Education Ministry says it is aware of the shortcomings in the early childhood development education sector and is working towards rectifying them.
And one of the key problems which we have noted in terms of the other 60% of the learners is the question of distance, where schools in our rural landscape are still far apart. And the young learners at 3 and 4 cannot make the more than 5 kilometers that is needed to go to school one way. As a ministry, we are therefore prioritizing these gray areas of ECD, that is the lack of infrastructure, the lack of schools nearby, and then the long traveling distances from home, and the wash element.
Now, Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa signed into law the Data Protection Act last Friday. The act focuses on giving protection of privacy and introduces new laws over the collection and storage of data in the modern digital world. The act gives general guidelines, but the detailed regulator is the Postal and Telecommunications Regulatory Authority of Zimbabwe. The authority's Director General, Dr. Gift Machengete, speaks.
We are in the digital age. There is no way people would have confidence and trust in digital products if they are not sure that they are protected in terms of their personal data. They need their data to be protected. Then when you look at businesses, there are companies in the world, especially in the Western world, who are prohibited from doing business with companies in those countries where you do not have strong data protection laws. So it means we lose out. We lose out on commerce, just because we do not have strong data protection laws.
We also spoke to legal expert Rumbidzai Venge.
Interestingly, also, when this was a bill, it was the cyber bill, cyber and data protection bill. But now, as it's made its way into the legislation books, it is now just the Data Protection Act. Is enough being done on the cyberspace in itself and protecting that and defining it? Do we understand it to an extent that we can properly protect it and the users of it? And is Portraz equipped to look after or to take up this monumental task of being the motherboard of all information, siphoning all information and declaring what is public and what's in the public domain, what's private? There seems to be quite a lot around that causes a lot of people some trepidation, but as I say, it's an important law that's come into effect.
Bank client confidentiality policies are impeding the fight against financial crimes such as money laundering. The Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission says a total of 10,390 suspicious bank transactions were recorded locally from 2017 to 2021, but investigations often hit a brick wall as banks fail to provide adequate information needed by law enforcement agents. ZAC spokesperson Commissioner John Makamure says the operation of cartels is also exacerbating the situation.
We are facing impediments whereby, for example, banks will not release information because of bank client confidentiality issues. But the banks are required by law to report to FIU. So if we want to obtain any information that we would want, we go via FIU. So that collaboration has not been happening as expected. Cartels have been at work in this country, which have tended to frustrate a cleaning up of the financial sector, because cartels make it very difficult for players to be able to execute their mandate.
The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe says the introduction of fines to the financial sector has gone a long way in ensuring banks comply with anti-money laundering practices.
Banks are obliged to identify those, and they know them, those high-risk customers who pose risk in the banking sector, bad apples. Identifying and reporting unusual and suspicious transactions through the FIU, and maintaining adequate customer and transaction records so that you'll be able to defend your customers. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe and the FIU have stepped up efforts to penalize banks and other institutions that are found wanting in terms of implementing the anti-money laundering requirements.
It has been hot and humid in northern parts of Zimbabwe with showers in the southern part of the country. What is in store for the rest of the week? Meteorological Services Department Chief Forecaster James Ngoma is on standby.
It's been rather sunny and hot over Harare Metropolitan and all Mashonaland provinces, but for cooler and wetter conditions, we've had a bit of thundery showers over the Midlands, Matabeleland North, Matabeleland South, Bulawayo Metropolitan, Masvingo Province, as well as Manicaland. Some of the falls from yesterday include about 38 millimeters over Kwekwe area. Sushavani also recording about 10 millimeters, 15 into Kokwe, as some of the rainfalls that fell over much of these areas, and we're still expecting these rainfalls to persist over Matabeleland North, Matabeleland South, Bulawayo Metropolitan, Masvingo, as well as parts of Manicaland. This is because of moisture that is drifting in from the west as well as from the southeast. And for Harare Metropolitan, we're expecting only showers towards mid-month. So for the rest of these days, it should be mostly sunny and hot over Harare Metropolitan and Mashonaland provinces. That's all for our weather forecast. It's back to the news desk.
South Africa Justice Minister Ronald Lamola says he is working to provide equitable access to land to correct unsustainable, unequal and skewed patterns of land ownership. His comments come after lawmakers rejected a bid to allow government to expropriate land without compensation.
Because of the nature of our country, where there's skewed ownership of land, where the majority is the white population owning majority of the land, and the majority of the population, which is black, not owning the minority of the land. It's a misnomer that must be resolved. So this must be done in a constitutional way.
4 university lecturers in Morocco have appeared in court accused of offering students better grades in return for sex. They are charged with incitement to debauchery, gender discrimination and violence against women. A 5th lecturer is to appear in court today on charges of indecent assault and battery. The scandal is focused on the Hassan, the first university in the city of Setat, but it only is the latest in a series of allegations of sexual harassment at Moroccan universities in recent years. Now, parts of South Sudan are experiencing their worst floods in 60 years, and the United Nations is linking the situation to climate change. The flooding this year has displaced more than 700,000, about 1 in every 15 people in South Sudan. Cases of malaria and other waterborne diseases have surged. Climate scientists say the floods in 2019 and 2020 were driven in part by global warming-linked changes in a weather pattern called the Indian Ocean Dipole. A couple in southern China were reunited with their missing teenage son in an emotional ceremony on Monday, ending their 14-year search, which inspired a hit movie. Sun Zhuo, now aged 18, was abducted in the city of Shenzhen in 2007 at the age of 4, but his parents never gave up hope they would see him again. His father, Sun Haiyang, and mother, Peng Xiying, told properties to fund their search and offered a reward of up to 31,000 United States dollars for information on his whereabouts over the year. Sun Haiyang said he had traveled to nearly every region of China to look for his son. Up next is Sports News. We'll start off with local football, where the scheduled premiership match between Harare City and Yada that was supposed to be played at the National Sports Stadium this afternoon has been shelved due to COVID-19 cases in both camps. ZTN's Stadius Mangipo is following these developments.
The situation on the ground is not looking very good, with confirmed cases at both Yada and Harare City. The two teams which were supposed to be taking on each other this afternoon at the National Sports Stadium. So that match has been postponed, I am told, to Saturday. And there could be more postponements to the weekend fixtures, with the PSO saying they will give us a revised fixture late in the day.
The suspended ZIFA board has decided to comply with the suspension order issued by the Sports and Recreation Commission a fortnight ago, and this follows the withdrawal of 3 board members, Farai Jere, Sugar Chagonda and Barbara Chikosi, from an appeal to the Administrative Court. The board confirmed they will comply with the SRC order in a statement released this morning. In some cricket news, Zimbabwe Cricket has named their Under-19 Cricket World Cup squad. The squad has 15 travelling players and 5 non-travelling reserves for the Under-19 Cricket World Cup to be hosted by the West Indies from January the 14th to the 5th of February 2022. And in Zimbabwe's Cricket Pro 50 Championship, it continues with rivals Alliance Health Eagles and Mountaineers clashing at Harare Sports Club tomorrow. And for more of these cricket stories, we are now joined by our correspondent, Brighton Jawi. Thanks for joining us, Brighton. Let's start with the Under-19s. What do you make of their squad?
Thank you. This squad, I think I can best describe it as the best of what's available. It hasn't been a smooth preparation run for the Under-19 technical staff because of the COVID-19 impact. But if you look at the team, recently they've had a couple of weeks, consistent weeks of training, and of course it's never enough when you're going at a big stage like the Under-19 World Cup. But however, there are some players with experience. For example, Emmanuel Bauer, the captain, is going to his second Under-19 World Cup, and he's playing in England right now. He's schooling, and you would expect him to play that senior role. The same with Brian Bennett, who in August was part of the Zimbabwe major squad that played in Namibia. So these are the guys that can play a big or more of a senior role in the team. But it hasn't been easy for the Under-19s. Remember, this World Cup also New Zealand have pulled out because of what they described as extensive COVID-19 measures. So in Scotland, they've replaced them to make it a 16-team World Cup. So for Zimbabwe, it's tough. We really haven't been performing well at the recent World Cups, and this one you can't really expect much. But just for them to participate is good for Under-19 for teenage cricketers. It's a huge milestone on their cricketing journey, but our hopes shouldn't be high.
Now, Brighton, we have the competition reaching its climax now. What's your analysis of the remaining fixtures?
Well, it's an exciting stage of the Pro 50 Championship. The big one is between rivals, Mountaineers and Eagles. It's basically semi-final. Whoever wins this game will meet the Rocks in the final. The Rocks have already secured their place at the final after a very good run. They sit on 65 points, and below them is Mountaineers on 40 points and Eagles on 35 points. So remember, it's a two-game series. The first one is on tomorrow and the other one is on Sunday. So, obviously Eagles or Mountaineers, they are aiming to be the final. Remember, defending champions, Rhinos, have had it very tough. They haven't won a game. And tomorrow they play Tuskers at Old Ararians. Obviously some pride for them there, but the big one, all the attention is at Harare Sports Club, where Eagles are taking on Mountaineers. Whoever wins that game or the two matches will meet the Rocks in the final. So exciting cricket there. It's good that cricket is being played amid all these challenges of COVID, but big game tomorrow at Harare Sports Club.
Thank you very much, Brighton. And that's all we had for you on today's edition of News Blitz. Don't forget to contact us on our social media platform. Our Twitter is at ZTN News, our Instagram at ZTN, and our website, ztn.co.zw. Stay with us. World in 5 is coming up shortly.